Is Moselle here yet?
Okay.
I was going to quote her, so I wanted her to enjoy that, but I'll save it. I'm coming back, I think, February 1st. Would you tell her to please come on February? Oh, hey, Moselle. Okay. Well, I think I was looking up some fun quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King, and this one I think really fits the theme of what I'm looking at. And this, one of the things he said was, "The heart can never be totally right when the head is totally wrong." The heart can never be totally right when the head is totally wrong. And I'm going to tell a story on myself when my head has been totally wrong, and it's really about coming back to the heart. So the power of a focused heart. Whatever. For me, it's really about staying connected with each other, because we can wander off in our minds and we lose that heart connection. And I've seen myself do that frequently with my wife, and she'll let me know. And the sign that it's happening is that my face starts getting scrunched up. Like, let's say that she says a sentence, I didn't hear the first word, so now I don't know what the rest of the sentence is. I heard every other word, but what was the first part? I go, so what was it? And she'll say, Charlie, quit scrunching your face. I realize immediately I've gotten out of my heart and into my mind. And I can be very linear, mind-oriented. And I think of myself as a heart-open person, and yet I still get off track and do that. And she'll be the first one to tell me. Now, I have to also confess that my first wife said the same thing. So I think it is about me. It's not just that they're wrong. And I remember my first wife would say about me, you have to feed the information into the computer just right so he'll understand. Like it has to be said just right, and so it's embarrassing. I also get in go mode. You ever get in go mode where you forget, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done. And again, we're not pausing to just be in life in our open hearts. There's a lot of talk, focusing our minds. How about focusing our hearts? Bringing the focus back to that love connection. I think often we feel separate when we get into focusing through our mind all the time. It separates us. We're just in our own little worlds when we could be connected. I had a spiritual teacher years ago, and that teacher said, if you're trying to figure things out, you're probably on the wrong track. If you're trying to figure out your relationship, no, it's about heart connection. Can I stay focused in my heart, not the linear mind? And I think it's always this path of forgetting and remembering, oops, I got off track, let me come back, right? Oh, I forgot to be in my heart, come back. Oops, I did it again. So basically Britney Spears. All the Christ inside us wants is to come back. Just stay in touch. Touch base. Oops, I got off track. Come back to who I am. Like that ticking heart in the meditation I just led. It's always there. The peace. What was the phrase? My heart is beating in the peace of God. Come back to that focus. Eckhart Tolle said, sometimes letting go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. So if we get into that kind of battle with someone or this defending, letting go is how we come back to our heart. If you find yourself defending, it's probably a warning sign, like a red flag. If you're in a conversation or relationship situation and you're suddenly defending your position, then that's not about connection. That's getting into that sense of separation, the battle in duality, when we really want to rise back up to our oneness and our connection, to our heart connection. One of my favorite lessons in A Course in Miracles, the title is, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. In my defenselessness. If you find yourself defending, just kind of notice, How can I approach this without defending my position? Can I just be fine with who I am, not get into this tug of war? You know the best way to get out of a tug of war? Let go of the rope. Let go of the rope. So I repeat from Eckhart Tolle, sometimes letting go is a far greater power than defending or hanging on. Let go, come back to the heart, get out of that mind battle that's happening. I'm sure you've heard of Ho'oponopono. Does that ring a bell with anybody? It's a Hawaiian spiritual practice. And I think it applies to this, and I'm not exactly an expert on it, but I've heard of it over the years. I'm just going to give you a quick, there's like 4 points that are worth looking at. And what I love about it, it's this revolutionary idea of taking responsibility for everything that's happening in your life. I want to say that again. Taking responsibility for everything that's happening in your life. And you could say, but she did that to me. I didn't do that. She did that to me. Well, on this lower level, yes. But what I think is being said is that on a soul level, you're drawing every experience to you that you need. So can you take responsibility for everything that's happening to you if you see it from that level? Your soul is asking to stretch, to grow. So yes, on that level, you can, and maybe there's a little bit of an exhale going, oh, maybe there's a freedom to that. Oh, I want to learn, and this is evidently how I'm going to be learning my next lesson. Eckhart Tolle spoke to that too. It says, life will give you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. How do you know this is the experience you need? Because this is the experience you are having at the moment. It's what you signed up for, whether you know it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not. So Ho'oponopono, there's 4 steps. The first 2 are kind of the letting go, and the second 2 for me are the extending the heart. So you got to let go, clear the space to let that, give space for that love. So the first one is basic surrender. You're saying, I'm sorry. So you're in some situation with someone to say, I'm sorry. That's the letting go. Then please forgive me. Again, more letting go, humility. Third, thank you. That's extending the heart and saying, thank you for helping me do my next stretch, my next lesson. And then finally, I love you. Extending the heart, knowing that we're one, stepping into that awareness consciously. So again, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And that might be useful to you. It's again, letting go is a far bigger choice. So I want to tell you a couple of stories about how I got out of my linear mind into my heart and how it made major life shifts for me. And the first one has to do with a deaf friend who I also eventually dated many years ago. And we first encountered each other. My buddy and I were visiting this open house of a kind of a funky little home in Austin, Texas. I was living in Austin after college, and it was one of these old shotgun houses, so very, very long linear hall down the middle. And we were about to walk in, we were walking in the front door, and the very other end, I caught the eye of this young woman, and I just felt like this deep soul connection. Our eyes just really met, just really saw each other. And we ended up having a conversation. It turns out she was deaf. That's interesting, because the soul doesn't know that from 60 feet away. And we ended up connecting and dating a little bit and spending some time together. And she was deaf, but she taught at the deaf school in Austin. She was originally from Wyoming, but had moved to Austin. She got a degree in music education, if you can believe that, and was teaching rhythm classes to the deaf students. So as time went on, we were enjoying each other's company, and I thought, I want to learn sign language so I can communicate more deeply. So I went and took some Thursday night classes and started learning, beginning to learn the alphabet and simple signs. And I started using it and communicating with her. And after a while, she said, stop it. Now, first of all, she was raised in Wyoming where they did not use sign language. They just mainstreamed the kids. And lip reading was how they got through life, and it worked pretty well. But when I was doing the signing, I was getting more into this and not connecting with her. I was all about, let's say, this is time for this, and I wasn't there. I wasn't present, right? I wasn't in my heart. Just back to that linear mind. And she said, stop. Just be with me. I'll be fine. And that was a lesson, like, again, because I love the puzzles. I love putting things together. Slow down. Just be. Connect in the heart. The other story that's fun to tell about our relationship is that one Saturday, she had an idea to do some music together. And so she went up to the school, broke in, and pulled out these two small musical instruments. One was a xylophone, about this size, and one was a marimba, about that size. And we put them in the car, drove out in the hills outside of Austin, and got under this big live oak tree with our two musical instruments. We sat across from each other, and she said, okay, let's play some music. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, so I got my two mallets. Well, what would be some fun parallel harmonies, or maybe a melody? What could I find? And as I was having these thoughts, she just cocked her head back and just started pounding on the xylophone, not looking at a single note she was playing, just... And I think she just wanted to feel it vibrating on her chest. And I'm holding these two mallets. I look at her and go, oh, well, what the heck? And I lean back and just pound away, not trying to do my little parallel harmonies or whatever linear thinking I was doing. And I have to tell you, that moment changed how I play music. It cut something loose in me, got me out of my mind, just let the wild, playful part of me just go. And it shifted how I play piano. I'm not worried about wrong notes. I just want to put the feel into it. I want to get out of my mind, just into the feel. Change how I play guitar. Who would ever guess I would have such a big, important musical lesson from a deaf person? Power of a focused heart. Out of our linear mind, true connection, not trying to figure things out. One more story I want to share. And this is, I think, about being in a focused heart in a playful way. So I was flying to Italy a number of years ago. I was going to lead another one of my tours. And every now and then, American Airlines gives me an upgrade to business class for free. And I happen to have it on this flight. So I'm on a flight from Chicago to Rome. And I sit down in my seat, and this is one of those 2 seats in the aisle, 2 seats in the aisle, and then 2 seats. So I sit down, another guy comes, sits next to me a minute later, we end up chatting, and he's a musician too. And he's in a band, and they're headed over to play for the troops in the Middle East. And we were chatting about it. He says, yeah, I'm in a band. Maybe you've heard of this guy. He's an actor named Gary Sinise. He organized this band. I said, oh yeah, I know Gary Sinise. He played Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. Do you remember that? He had the guy without the legs below the knees. So he's a main character in Forrest Gump. I thought, oh yeah. And like a minute later, then Gary Sinise comes on board, goes down this aisle, and just sits right across from the guy I'm talking to. So that's fun. And so we take off. We're into the flight about 2 hours. And evidently word got around, and a flight attendant pops out from behind the curtain and says, I hear there's someone famous here, like a movie star, and I could see him cringing in his seat. So I said, yeah, that's me. So did you ever see the movie Forrest Gump? She said, no. And I said, now I know I have free reign to do whatever I want. I said, yeah, I played a character named Lieutenant Dan. She goes, oh, fun. And she goes behind the curtain. She's all happy, and I kind of lean forward and look over at Gary, and he's giving me this twinkle in his eye, basically saying, thank you for saving me. So it was fun, just to again, it's like no wrong notes, just play. Just get out there and play. It's okay to hit a wrong note. Life is full of wrong notes. Play. Out of our mind, from our heart. It's about connecting. And who knows, you might even save Lieutenant Dan someday. My heart is beating. in the peace of God. The power of a focused heart. Thank you. I will mention I brought some music if you want to take some of my music home. It's in the office, bookstore, whatever it's called. It's kind of tucked in back there. Also, if you want to come on a tour or a retreat, look for have a couple of different flyers. Take this home, put it on your fridge, think about it. Thank you very much.